Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is your boy Skip from the Sacktown Breakdown, and we just had ourselves a little press conference the other day for all of our new free agents. We have five total, but four have inked their deals so far: Dwayne Dedman, Harrison Barnes, Corey Joseph, and Trevor Ariza. So I figured we just do a little recap of it and kind of dive into it and get to some of the finer points of it. So, first person up is Harrison Barnes. One of the comments that he offered up is he really thanked the Kings for being able to play here long term. Long term was really the thing that he was highlighting. Now, when we traded for Harrison Barnes, we got him. He had the rest of the season left, and then he had a player option to opt in for 25 million. Of course, we saw that he opted out of that, and then we negotiated a 4-year contract with him, and we'll get to the details of that when we start to get into our player analysis in the coming weeks. But some people were a little skeptical when he opted out. I had already known he was going to resign. We sent him to India, which is an untapped market that the NBA is really trying to key in on, especially the Kings, since owner Vivek Ranadive is from there. So we sent him out there, took tons of pictures and videos, came back, and we pretty much knew a deal was going to get done, and he'll be here for a while, which is perfect. He doubled down on that too, and he went as far as to talk about the moment that he knew he wanted to be in Sacramento long term. He talks about that later in the press conference, and we'll get to that soon. And lastly, he talked about wanting to end the playoff drought. Anytime you have new free agents come in, or even people that you draft, you always want to hear them talk about your specific and immediate needs. We've been out of the playoffs 13 seasons total. This will be the 14th if we don't make it this year, but I believe we will. And he specifically talked about wanting to be a part of that. Next up, we have Trevor Ariza. Trevor Ariza is coming into his 16th season, and it's always great to have that type of experience and that type of maturity and professionalism on your team. The other thing that he said, he was excited to try on a new jersey, and he kind of had like a little snicker or a little laugh. Now, at first, I was a little concerned about that. Sacramento Kings have been the laughing stock of the NBA for years now, and that all started to change about 2 seasons ago, specifically last season. You heard the narrative start to change. And I had to stop to think, where was Trevor Ariza last season? Well, for the last few seasons, one, he was with the Phoenix Suns, who was a joke of a franchise in the front office. We can officially say that now. And then he also went to Washington. Again, a joke of a front office, dumpster fire of the NBA, with all the issues with John Wall, getting injured again and then tearing his Achilles when he's already out for the rest of the season, not being able to trade Bradley Beal, bloated contract given to Otto Porter. Glad we dodged that bullet. So that was something that was what his experience was the last 2 seasons. So I know that he's happy to be back in a normal front office in a normal franchise. So that's really why he turned to Dwayne Dedman and kind of snickered a little bit. And he wants to continue to help teams win. He's still got fuel in the tank. He's still got a fire inside. He believes that he still has something to contribute as far as wins. And for a vet that's been in the league for 16 seasons, you like to hear that. And lastly, he talked about how he's a basketball junkie and he's always in the gym. And that's going to come up later when we really kind of hit the nail on the head with a very specific topic. Next up was Dwayne Dedman. Dwayne Dedman, again, thanked the Sacramento for the opportunity to be here. As an undrafted player who has gone through the G League and been a bit of a journeyman, guys like this really, really look for stability. And that's something that he mentioned, having a spot to call home for the next 3 years. He has earned his way up. He's improved every year. Experience from San Antonio Spurs and then being with the Atlanta Hawks, who they also missed the playoffs last year. He also talking about wanting to end the playoff drought. Harrison Barnes is someone who's used to being in the playoffs. Trevor Ariza is used to being in the playoffs, and they want to get back in. So does Dwayne Dedman, and that's exactly what you want to hear a guy like this talk about. And then Corey Joseph. I love Corey Joseph, yo. I mean, people want to look at maybe his points per game and maybe point stuff out, but everybody knows he's a tough-nosed defender. He's been to the playoffs every year of his career. He's got a ring. And he said he's excited and he appreciates the opportunity to come to Sacramento. Remember, he was with the Pacers and Victor Oladipo went down, as well as he was our point guard not that long ago, Darren Collison, announcing his retirement. Nate McMillan worked wonders with that team, but I bet Corey Joseph kind of felt like the walls were closing in. So having the opportunity to be a free agent and come to a place that has great youth and has been rebuilding, and he said the franchise has done a great job of rebuilding, drafting De'Aaron Fox, winning that New Orleans Pelicans DeMarcus Cousins trade and getting Buddy Hield, and getting a draft pick, another lotto pick that we turned into 2 picks with Justin Jackson and Harry Giles, which we rolled Justin Jackson and Zebo's contract into trading for Harrison Barnes. So he's been seeing who we've been drafting, how we've been moving, the savvy moves, and said he was excited to be a part of the team. And he said he wants to get to the playoffs. Now, this is someone who's not missed the playoffs a single year in his whole career, and I hope and I believe that he will keep that streak alive here in Sacramento. And he said we got a good mix of guys. He looks at the Harrison Barnes and the Dwayne Dedmons. He looks at the De'Aaron Foxes and the Buddy Hields and the Harry Giles and the Marvin Bagleys and, and the Bogdan Bogdanoviches, my favorite player on the Sacramento Kings. And just sees that we have a great mix of champions, because Bogdan's also a champion in the EuroLeague. Champions, playoff aspirations and experience, and just tons of talent. So then it got to the media Q&A section, and this is the part where we start to read between the lines a little bit. Vlade Divac was asked about his, he got asked like 1 or 2 questions, and he kind of gave the generic answer, of course, of, hey, we went in a different direction, and this is our new direction, and these are the exact guys that we wanted for the new direction that we're going in. But I wanted to talk about more of the answers that our new free agents gave. So Harrison Barnes had stated that it was that game against Miami, his first game with the Sacramento Kings, where he realized that he wants to be here long term. Sacramento Kings were down. We rallied back. We ended up winning that game. He played a major role in that. And, that's when he knew he wanted to be here long term. So I'm sure the conversation probably started even then on making sure he stays around. Now, Dwayne Dedmon talked about a fast tempo offense. He came from the Atlanta Hawks. Sacramento Kings and Atlanta were both, like 1 and 2, hovering around 1, 2, and 3 in pace last season. So for a person like Dedmon, he wants to play some defense, get out and run, get some easy transition buckets, maybe be the trailer and shoot the transition 3, as he is a very solid 3-point shooter, especially for a big man. So he spaces the floor. That's good for his stats. That's good for our team. Trevor Ariza got asked about Rico Hines. Now, I had gotten some inside news, and Tap is going to make a video about this soon, which actually might be coming out later today or even tomorrow, about the Sacramento Kings. We acquired Rico Hines as a coach for the Stockton Kings team last season. And when we did, I said, you know what? I already know that we're going to keep him down there for 1 year, and the next year we are going to put him on the main coaching staff. And sure as day, that's exactly what the Sacramento Kings have done. There hadn't been an official statement yet, but I fell into the information that, from some credible sources within the Sacramento Kings G League team, that we had moved Rico Hines to the official Sacramento coaching staff. And sure enough, when I was watching the Summer League games, I heard and saw that Rico Hines was already down there with the team. We sent Harry Giles down there last year, and anybody who was watching noticed that when Harry Giles came back, that's when he was fouling less, more confident, hitting more shots. The game slowed down for him. He went and worked out with Rico. For anybody who already knows who Rico Hines is, he is one of the best, if not the best, player development coach who was not officially on a NBA coaching staff last year. And he go back, at least for the last 3 years, I've been watching Rico's videos in the off season. Paul George, who was in talks to be an MVP, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, both MVPs, work with him. the Raptors sent their whole team to him, and they were doing private runs. Serge Ibaka and is it Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, all down there. Even OG Anunoby, I believe, was down there with him, though he's not on. I don't believe he's on the team anymore. I think he's on a different roster, as well as the Clippers team got sent down to Rico. Now we did send, and they had been going for the last few seasons. We sent our guys down there last year. I did see Ben McLemore, Zebo, Marvin Bagley down there. Skal Labissiere was down there as well when he was on our squad. And Buddy went down there. I think Buddy went by himself, but that was the video that I found and I sent to Matt George. Was like, hey, Buddy started passing now. He can distribute now. You know, his game is going up. So Rico has already made an impact on our team and the whole NBA. Pascal Siakam won Most Improved Player. Well, De'Aaron Fox is in that conversation. Buddy Hield was 4th on the list. And they didn't get to work with Rico like that because he wasn't fully with us yet. So imagine what those two players are going to look like this season when Rico actually gets to work with them. It's going to be incredible. He's our secret weapon. And Trevor Ariza was talking about how he got asked, what role does Rico Hines being a part of the Kings organization play and him choosing to come to Sacramento? And he stated how he's known Rico since he was 18 years old and they have a close relationship. He said that Rico is perfect for the young talent that the Kings have been adding. And Rico's going to make an impact here. He says he's a great person as a whole to just be around, inspiring person. Let alone an incredible basketball mind and development coach. He knows how to speak to players, get down to them, and help them bring the best out of themselves. And it's made an impact on the whole NBA. He says that we're a team that has everybody wants to get better. He senses it. He's talked to different people in the league. Buddy Hield is a gym rat. De'Aaron Fox had a question mark on his shooting. He said that's all he worked on last summer, and he shot 38% from 3. Which before I think it was like 28% or 29% the year before. So, I mean, let Rico get his hands on him, and it's going to be incredible. And Trevor Ariza says this team wants each other to be successful, and that's the only way to win is when everybody's successful, and you want that for everybody. So, I thought it was incredible that that he got asked about Rico because he's our biggest secret weapon. Not a lot of people are talking about him. I'm so excited about it. Go subscribe to Rico's channel, watch his videos, and also go and watch those it's Rico's Run, but it's on Ball is Life. So go watch those Ball is Life videos from just the year before. Ben Simmons and Blake Griffin and everybody down there. It's pretty crazy. Harrison Barnes got asked about, the details, because what we're going to focus on this year. And he talked about focusing on the details, how we lost some close games last year, because, we made some mental mistakes and how that ended up being the nail in the coffin and why we didn't make the playoffs. So he says that's going to be the focus for this year. So we actually make it into the playoffs. Corey Joseph just doubled down on the fact that, he's made it to the playoffs every year of his career and that he's a champion and that we got 2 other guys here at the very least that are champions as well. And it all starts off the court and then it transfers to on the court. And I love to hear that from Corey Joseph. He's just, I really appreciate him as a player. Trevor Ariza talked about how locking into the moment, locking into the grind and the work is the way to learn how to be a professional, learn how to be a winner. And that's what he's going to be imparting on Buddy Hield and Bogdan Bogdanovic and Harry Giles and Marvin Bagley and De'Aaron Fox. And he also mentioned that he'd been watching Buddy Hield for a while because his family is also from the islands. And he's been following Buddy's career, and he said he really started watching the Kings when we drafted De'Aaron Fox and when we traded for Buddy Hield. He said that's when he as a player felt a shift inside of the organization and part of what helped him take notice and want to sign in Sacramento. So it takes a kingdom state of mind, to get back on the throne and to stay there, and to be in our rightful place. And the Sacramento Kings at one point in time, I think we were the best team in the NBA, and we remember those years with Bobby Jackson, who is also a player development coach, and Peja, who is an assistant GM to Vlade, and Doug Christie, who is a color commentator for all of the Kings games and has a radio show with Grant Napier on the local Sacramento sports radio. We remember when all those guys were balling, and Vlade, who was our GM, was right in the center of that. And Chris Webber, who I am not the biggest fan of, I'll go on record saying that for how negatively he talked and how he tried to distance himself from Sacramento the whole time when it's the best thing that happened to him in his career. But he's coming around now too. I saw him at the Summer League games when I went to the California Classic out here in Sacramento. The energy is up, the buzz is up, the decisions are being made. We continue to draft well, like Kyle Guy. Let Rico get his hands on Kyle Guy and Justin James and Winnie Gabriel and the rest of our squad, and just watch us to continue to go up. Continue to talk about how we're making this a family, we're making this home, we playing for each other. We have all that sense. You get it when you watch the press conference, when you read between the lines, when you stay on top of the news, and you can stay on top of the news here at the Sacktown Breakdown. So continue to look out for videos with me and Tap. More videos on the way. Tap's got a Rico Hines video that's coming. We'll have more content as far as player analysis. I'm sure we'll be making NBA 2K content. I will be at the California State Fair, Sacramento, July 13th, hosting the NBA 2K tournament. We got a big old tent, got a tournament going on, and the Kings Guard, the Sacramento Kings Guard, the NBA 2K League affiliate team for Sacramento will be there. BP, who is up for most valuable player in the league this year, and rookie of the year, because he's an incredible point guard. He'll be there. Worthing Colt, Yusef Scarbs, who's leading the league in blocks, Zachy, Roman. Everybody's gonna get there. And of course Seam, ball like Seam, our shooting guard. Everybody's gonna be there, so you can come meet them, talk to them. You can meet me. I'm gonna try to see if Tap can be there as well. But come join us. It's gonna be a great time. We'll continue to be creating content, fun content, 2K content. Me and Tap will make some together. That'll be fun to make what's normally a drought in between summer league and training camp and media day. Make it fun and give you as much Kings news and predictions and analysis as we can. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, which is currently on the Podbean. It'll be on Google Play and iTunes soon. Make sure that you subscribe to Skipintosh, SKIPNTOSH on Twitter, as well as Twitch and YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to Tap 2K's Twitter page, as well as his YouTube channel. And y'all have a great rest of your day.